We are ready and waiting for you now. If it's a fight that you just see, we've acquired our strength through pain. No more are we pathetic game. You are the reason why we claim that we've all become this way. And I regret this prison that I've created for myself.
Music is Live podcast. This is your host, Lou Mavs. Check out everything you need to know about the show over at musicisLivepodcast.com. I am very happy to have on my show today someone that I'm happy to call a friend and who is a musician on an international level. You've played practically everywhere in every country. That's no small feat.
Very fortunate to do so.
Having gotten a start in the late 80s in Jack Starr's Burning Star, and also having formed the band that he has now released a new album with on Massacre Records. The name of the band, Holy Mother. Their new album is out right now. And I'm very happy to have on the show today, Mr. Mike Tirelli. Mike, good to see you.
Yeah, how you doing, Lou?
Doing all right. How have you been, man?
Been great. I mean, everything is great. I'm blessed, that everything's going so well and, living life to the fullest, and I'm very excited about the new album, as you know. We've been doing so many podcasts and interviews, and people are very interested in, Holy Mother again. We haven't released an album. I think it's like 17, 18 years now. So
it's up there.
We're back again.
Glad to have you back. And the new album is called Face This Burn. It is available on Massacre Records right now, and we're going to talk about that release, plus a really cool single that Holy Mother just released a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, Mean Street.
Mean Street from Van Halen, my favorite album of all time, and they covered the opening track, and it sounds killer. It sounds so killer that you wouldn't think it was a Van Halen song. These guys, they did it their way, which is the way Eddie Van Halen wanted people to do it, their way, not rip him off completely. You have a new member of the band as well, Mr. Greg Giordano, formerly of Originus. We're going to get to all of that.
Yeah. I'm not exactly. I got a lot to say about the Van Halen thing and how it came about, but you'll ask that question, I believe.
Definitely. So we'll get started with our line of questioning. And again, thank you for being on the show tonight.
Yeah.
So, Mike, as I open up the show, I mentioned that you got your start in the 1980s with Jack Starr's Burning Star. In that time, you made a name for yourself, both in your home state of New York and on an international level. What was it about music that made you want to pursue it as a career?
Girls, drugs, and booze.
Okay, good night, everybody. That's the reason why everyone does it. Good night. That was the quickest interview ever.
Obviously, that wasn't the case.
Well, unless you're Gene Simmons, except for the drugs thing, we all know. Regardless.
Yeah. No. What really pursued me to get into music was just the enjoyment of being around musicians and just being in front of people on stage is like an amazing feeling, as you know, being a musician yourself. When there's people out there, there's an energy that is hard to explain. At times, it is an addiction, and it keeps you coming back for more. So basically, just being in the music scene and playing in front of people, large crowds at times, and sometimes not as large. But that's basically what kept me coming back. And just being around great musicians as well.
That is a pretty solid answer. I would have accepted the drugs, money, and sex thing, but
that's what people expect, right?
That's pretty much what people expect. But the music industry today is such a far cry from where it was. What I remember was being promoted on MTV. What you remember growing up, what it was like, where that stuff was not only visible, but it was pushed. It's kind of nice for me to say that now people are just focused on the music again. And especially with restrictions being opened up, people are ready to see live bands again. People are ready to go to concert halls. People are ready to just have fun and just enjoy themselves. So I think the new album couldn't have come at a better time.
I agree. I really do. I mean, I started out with, I was doing a project called Rising 5 at the time, putting it out by myself. And I reached out to Thomas Hertler at Massacre Records, same label that Messiah's Kiss is on, from Germany, the other band that I'm in, actually. He was very, he was interested in putting it out. I was going to release the EP to him. Then my wife, Janet, actually suggested, she said, why don't you just, all the songs that you're writing, I mean, I'm always writing. I'm in my studio. I'm always writing. Why don't you just release a Holy Mother album? I mean, people are always asking about it. People in Europe always had the Toxic Rain record. It was a pretty popular record in Europe. I mentioned it to Thomas Hertler, and he was like, he was a no-brainer fan. He was like, yeah, definitely. That's a great idea. So that's basically what brought me to bring Holy Mother back. And then I was working with James Harris, who is the original drummer, was my lyricist for a lot of the songs. And he writes music too. Basically, he writes a lot of the lyrics for, for anything that I write or for Holy Mother. So the first song that we wrote that he helped me write was No Death Reborn, which was on Rising 5.
Which is my second favorite song on the album, by the way.
Great. That's about opiate abuse. And, obviously everyone knows about that. Young teens and people are really addicted to, all the opioids and stuff. And people are, dying from it. So basically I sent him the song complete. I play all the instruments and all the drums, everything. And I sent it to him with the melody, with me mumbling, that's what I do. I sing a melody and he always comes up with something really, really brilliant. So we discussed what we wanted it to be about. And that's what he came up with. He wasn't even in the band yet, but he liked it so much. He's like, this is great, So, and then when I mentioned to him about Holy Mother, let's put it back together. He was like, great idea. Let's do it. He was ready to do it again. So here we are, 2021, Holy Mother's back, and we're back with a vengeance, ready to play.
And with Jim, I guess you guys stayed friends throughout all this time, from the Burning Star days to today. That's amazing. How many friendships in the music industry actually last the test of time?
Not that many, just like you said.
Yeah, as many as marriages do.
I got a couple still, but Jim and I did stay, in touch. He wrote a couple of like horror fictional books, Jim, and he did that for a while. He toured with Dirty Looks back before Holy Mother. Actually, he was in Dirty Looks, the band Dirty Looks, and I think he's doing little things with music, but he really got out of the business for a long time. So with me mentioning let's do this again, since we have a great chemistry, he was all for it. He thought it was the greatest thing. So here we are again.
Resulted in a great album. So you started Holy Mother in the early to mid 90s with Jim. Also in the band were Spike Francis on guitar and the late great Randy Coven, rest in peace, on bass. In 96, when your self-titled release was out, it was a time of flux in the world of music and pop culture, but you still thrived in Europe. For example, I remember the first time I heard of Holy Mother, I was 16 years old, and I think it was at late 16, early 17, and there was a Dio tribute that came out, and you guys covered Holy Diver. Now, I didn't associate Holy Mother with being an American band, because at the time I was like, well, it's on a comp with a lot of European power metal bands. I go, it must be European. And I'm like, no, he lives east of where I was from in Astoria, Queens. So I was like, oh, they're a New York band. That's awesome. So here I am hearing you just tear the vocals down. I mean, you did such a killer job on that record. And I'm like, my God, this guy's got balls like a lion the way he's singing. He's got guts. You don't hear that a lot, because at the time when I was a teenager, it was a lot of, I call it the dark ages, Limp Bizkit and stuff like that. So it was great to hear someone actually sing on a song, especially a Dio song. But with the changes in the industry being as volatile as they were at the time that Holy Mother was releasing records in the late 90s, how was it for you to adapt to them? And even with the changes today?
Basically, we dabbled in different styles. Me, Randy Coven, James Harris, and Spike Francis. But our most popular record was the Toxic Rain record. And we were on a small label in Germany. And he said to us, man, I want a really heavy record. So that basically took us to where we thought we'd have a better chance of having a bigger following in Europe with that kind of music, because it was a European label as well. In America, the first album that we released, Holy Mother, with Spike and Randy and Jim, was more of like a hard rock record. It was like when the times were changing, like big time, Nirvana, and they weren't, they were associating us as almost like, without even listening to music, maybe a hair band. And we really weren't. Yeah. So we went to different labels here in the States, and we didn't really shop, extensively, but we said, well, let's just do something different now. We'll focus on Europe, because I had some kind of a name over there, and Randy too. And then we signed with a small label and took it from there, As far as the Dio thing goes, we were asked to do the compilation on Century Media Records.
Right, Holy Dio.
Yeah, Holy Dio with
I think Axel Rudy Pell was on it. He covered Still I'm Sad. Let me see if I can remember some of it. I think it was Hammerfall doing Man on the Silver Mountain. It was Primal Fear covering Kill the King.
More than I do. I mean, but I do remember that.
I played the shit out of that record in my college radio
Jeff
days.
Scott Soto actually was singing with Yngwie on that track that they did. I think they did what track did they do?
Gates of Babylon?
Indeed. There you go.
Right, because that was also released on his covers album that he released in like 96, 97. So I guess he just threw that. How the hell do I remember these things? Anyways, it's all in the DNA.
You're better than Eddie Trunk, man.
Yes, the Holy Dio tribute that was released on Century Media. It was a great comp, and I remember playing it on my college radio show religiously. So.
What college radio show was it? Or is it?
We couldn't be heard outside of the parking lot. It was St. John's University, WSJU. Now they actually, I'm so happy for them that they actually have a presence on the internet. So their internet radio as well as on campus radio. They didn't have an impact like WSOU 89.5 did. I was a music director there. I was also the production manager. So I try to get as many interviews as possible. I try to do as many things to promote the radio station as possible. So it led to the point where now they have an internet presence, and I'm proud of the Red Stormers. I don't know if they're still called that.
Yeah, the Red Storm, right? Of course.
They were Red Storm when I was a student, which, if this offends anyone, I apologize. They were called the Red Men at one point.
Everything is offensive. The Redskins, they got to change their name. I can't. Don't even get into that. I'm
not. This is not no politics. That's my hashtag.
We stand in the middle. I believe in balance. I don't believe far left. I don't believe far right. You know what? I don't even have to tell you. It creates
imbalance. It creates division. Exactly. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm not far one way or the other. I try to be objective with everything, and I'm glad that you feel the same way too, which is why I'm glad he's on the Music is Life podcast.
There you go.
Continue. There was a following that was available to you guys in Europe. So with Toxic Rain, you signed there.
Right.
And the question being that when Holy Mother was releasing music in Europe on labels, it was during a time of flux in the music industry itself. The idea of self-releasing, I think at that time still hadn't even come into play. So the question was the changes with the music industry and your adaptation to them.
As far as answering that question, it's the change was the grunge era. Pretty much. Is that word right? I mean, so we actually just wanted to go with, my roots of heavy metal and singing, being influenced by Dio and all. I didn't really try to follow a trend. We just wanted to do straight heavy metal, power metal. They categorized it as Holy Mother was power metal.
Which is not a bad thing.
No.
I love power metal. I just had Sasha from Halloween on my show the week before. So
well, they're doing very well right now, by the way. Their new album is killing. It really is. We're hoping to get on tour with Halloween sometime in the near future, I hope.
Okay, hold on a minute. Public service announcement. Hey, Sasha Gerstner fan page from Instagram. Check out Holy Mother. Get them on tour with Halloween next year. Okay, see if you can get them to open up the Halloween Hammerfall tour in Europe. Make it happen. Check their album out.
Thank you. That's awesome.
It's funny that you mentioned that, though, because did I hate grunge? No. There were some good bands that I liked from that era. Like, I thought Alice in Chains and Soundgarden were two of the best.
I love Alice in Chains.
I hate it when people refer to them as grunge, because to me it's just good hard rock. The same way it's like, if you were a metal band in 94, they immediately dumped you in with hair metal. I mean, I just think
because they came out of Seattle. That's why.
Yeah, but so did Hendrix. So did Queensryche.
So does Queensryche. Right. But that was the time. You know what I mean? So Soundgarden. Chris Cornell is phenomenal. I love that guy. So. Again, even a couple, Nirvana wasn't my favorite, but I give him credit for what he did, God bless him.
I didn't hate Nirvana. I guess my thing with them was like everything, it just got overexposed in a short period of time. Like, you didn't get to enjoy it. And do I think that it was undeserved that they became as successful as they did? No, I didn't think it was undeserved, but Kurt just kind of wanted to be left alone and just do his music, not be the poster boy for Tiger Beat or MTV. Tiger Beat.
That's Tiger Beat. Those the old that magazine you're talking about, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That's funny. And I think the fame, that got to him, the overexposure, like you said.
Yeah.
And he had issues, he really did.
He definitely did. With Holy Mother's presence on the European metal scene, were some of the magazines, such as Metal Hammer, taking notice of you?
Oh, God, yeah. We got amazing reviews in Rock Hard Germany, Rock Hard Italy, Rock Hard Spain, but mainly Rock Hard Germany. We were like top 4 when Toxic Rain came out.
That's an amazing accomplishment.
Metal Hammer as well. Metal Hammer Germany. See, Metal Hammer releases in different countries as well. Even this year, Rock Hard gave us a great review for Face This Burn. Awesome review, which is really important, because that's the biggest magazine, or now it's online as well, as we know. We did, the score, whatever. They give it like a score and a chart. I think we were up there in the top 10. So we did really well.
That is amazing.
There's so many different magazines. We were in so many different things. And this year, I've done more interviews than I think ever. There was a little lull after like 2 months after the record was released, actually. And I just started up again. I did 2 in France. They're digging the album, and then in the single, the Mean Streets single. I actually got another one coming up. A German guy who lives in the Philippines. That's coming up. We're getting a lot of exposure, and I gotta thank Massacre for that as well.
That's great that a label like Massacre that you're signed to is promoting it as much as they are. It shows that they're really doing their job. I think it's great when artists release stuff on their own. I think it's great when independent labels actually see value and merit in the art itself and do what they're supposed to do and help get it out there. I will say this. I didn't get to see a copy of the actual physical copy of the new album, but I know that on July 29th, Holy Mother will be headlining D. Snider's record release party for his new record, July 29th at Stereo Garden in Patchogue, New York. And if you show up, make sure you buy merch from Holy Mother.
Appreciate it. We were honored because our manager, Danny Stanton, manages D. Snider, so he manages Holy Mother now. D requested that he wanted Holy Mother to play his record release, which is great.
Awesome.
He's a great guy.
And you
both, really is.
Both you and D, definitely. No, I met D. Snider at Lyric Studios in Garden City. I was walking in and as he was coming out, and he actually said hello. And I was like, holy shit, I just met D. Snider.
He's a very charitable guy. Everybody likes him. Everyone says the same thing. Oh, he's a great guy. He's very personable, and he does a lot of charity too for a lot of different things, as I think you know.
He does the motorcycle rides for charity. Right. How many people do that on an annual basis? Last year, obviously, it was difficult, but, it's probably one of the most successful. Andy performs at the end of it usually, which is great. And you both share a bass player, Russell. Right. He'll be there. I'm looking forward to showing up and getting to see you guys live. If it's okay with you, if I could record some content for the podcast and show it.
What we're doing too, we have a 3-camera crew that's going to be there, and it's going to be a live feed all over the world. So people in Germany, people in Japan, fans that I have, whatever, in Europe, in Japan, they're going to be able to view the show live for, I think it's like $9.99 or whatever. You sign on and boom, you can see the show. And then we're going to show it again later on.
$10 for an awesome concert. Really, you can't go wrong.
Exactly.
I'll make sure we post all the links in the description. Don't worry.
But we want people to show up because obviously we want to feel the energy, and the camera's going to see all the people. We want to pack the place. It's at Stereo Garden in Patchogue, which is a beautiful venue. They only open for events. That's it. They're not just a bar. It's going to be a buffet, gourmet buffet, included in the ticket. It's going to be a great night. It's just great to get together with a bunch of people, fans and friends and family going to be there. And we're going to have a great time. And it's going to hopefully sound amazing.
And get ready to rock the fuck out, because Holy Mother's taking over Stereo Garden in Patchogue.
That's what I say.
By the way, if anybody remembers, that place used to be the Emporium.
Exactly. They remodeled it, and it's even better.
Really?
Yep, it's great.
Like completely gutted, or just?
I don't think they gutted
updated
it. I think they just did some renovation here and there, and cosmetically, and some different things. They got different seating. You got the pit down in the pit, and then you got the balcony, which couches, and it's very kind of emulated after the Paramount in Huntington.
That's a great venue. I love the Paramount. I've seen
the best.
Who have I seen there? I've seen Anthrax, Testament, Death Angel. I've seen Clutch.
Yeah.
I wanted to go to Judas Priest when they played there 2 nights in a row, but I had seen them twice in 2018, and I was like, because at the time my daughter was born, so I'm like, nah, I saw Priest twice already. I'm good. I'll pass this time. And then they played album cuts that I would have loved to have heard. Like they played Out in the Cold from Turbo. I like Turbo, but I love the song Out in the Cold, and I'm like, crap, I would have loved to have seen them play that.
Of course, it's funny because I saw Priest. Last time I saw Priest was Las Rages. It's a
oh my goodness,
it was a great festival. It had Priest, it had Saxon, it had In This Moment, it had Five Finger Death Punch, which I love what they do now for the production end of it more so. Great show. And Priest sounded great. I had a great time. Me and my buddy Wayne Banks from England, he plays in Messiah's Kiss with me, bass player.
Very cool. By the way, there is one person I want to give a shout out to, and that is your lovely wife and publicist, Janet Tirelli.
Definitely.
Who hooked me up with a lot of information and set this up between us. So I just wanted to give her a shout out to everyone out there. Love your wives, especially if they're your publicist. Okay.
She deserves it. She keeps me intact, keeps me focused, keeps me organized. Everything else, everything's great. She's great.
Yeah, that's a good woman.
No doubt about it.
I would know. I'm married 13 years. Speaking of Messiah's Kiss, that was a band that you joined in the early 2000s. They're German. You've released 4 albums with them. I think I read in an interview that you had put a hold on Holy Mother sometime around 2003 and started releasing music with Messiah's Kiss in 2004. What was the impetus for that at this point in your career?
Well, pretty much I felt that Holy Mother, me and Jim broke up at the time. I did the last record by myself, just me and Randy. I had John Macaluso play drums on the demos, and I actually recorded the drums myself. It didn't come out right, so I had to re-record the drums, and I did that in Hamburg, Germany. I had to fly Frank Gilchrist all the way over to Germany because I was on tour with Messiah's Kiss. But basically, what really gave me the motivation was just because Messiah's Kiss just started to take off. We signed a deal with SPV, Steamhammer, and Ronnie Hansel was our manager at the time, and he actually, got the deal for us. Our first show was at Wacken Open Air. I mean, you couldn't beat it. The record came out, SPV, Wacken, Messiah's Kiss, new band, crazy. And these guys were all local guys from Dienstag in Germany. They were fans of Holy Mother, and they contacted me to sing on their album, which I denied, I think, like 4 or 5 times. I'm like, nah, I don't want to do it. Then I listened to it, and I'm like, hey, it's pretty catchy, They reached out to a guy where we recorded some of the Holy Mother albums in Bochum, Germany. His name is Detlef Mormon. And Detlef called me. He's like, hey, he calls me Rockman. Hey, Rockman. He goes, these guys really would like you to do it. How much money? So we worked out the finances. But I was like, I'll come over. I'll learn the stuff and I'll get to hang out with my buddy Detlef in Bochum in his studio. It'll be great. Fly over there. We recorded the album. Ronnie Hansel was managing me for Holy Mother. And then he heard the Messiah's Kiss stuff and he was so excited, and he got it signed to SPV, just like my last album. Agoraphobia was on SPV. So with that said, first show at Wacken Open Air, there's like 50,000 people we played in front of the first show.
Anyone who's a musician and into metal, I think that's like their dream is to play Wacken.
Play Wacken twice, and we want to play again with Holy Mother and then Messiah's Kiss. So
can I go as a roadie?
Yeah, definitely. You kidding me?
All right, I'll pay my way.
So we played Wacken, and after the show, we sat around and had a big meeting with SPV and Ronnie Hansel that we were preparing for a Doro Pesh tour. We were out with Doro for 2 months, 14 countries, 12, whatever it was. So we were out. I was out a good October till December. It was great. Really, really great. The first album did really well. And then from there, with that kind of success and, the touring, I was very, excited about it, obviously. And I just kept going with the Messiah's Kiss thing for a while. And things didn't go as planned. Band members didn't want to do certain tours, and they turned down some big tours. One being Testament was a big one that we could have toured with. And then
they turned it down?
Well, here, check it out. I'm letting it out. I'm letting the cat out of the bag.
All right. True confession time on the Music is Life podcast. Confess! Take it away, Mike.
I know, right? Now, Eddie is my buddy. He's the drummer, Eddie Ashta in Messiah's Kiss. He kind of runs the band in Europe and Germany. And he didn't want to do the Testament tour. And I didn't know about it. I did not know about it because Rana contacted him. And then I found out later. Then we had potential the Dio tour. That would have cost a lot of money because it was extensive. And
but that's return of investment right there, doing a Dio tour.
Please don't get me started. So we missed that. The Dio tour.
It's simple economics.
I know. We go out with Dora. We do so well. And then we have the opportunity to go out with Testament. That was more of a solid one. The Dio thing, SPV and our publishing company would have to come up a little bit more money. So it was like, if we pushed for it, I believe we probably could have got it if we did the Testament thing, you know. So after that, we released, I think, what was the second album? I think it was If My Wife Was in My Life at the time, like she said, we would have did that tour. So we did another album. It came out.
So heartbreaking.
It was produced by Nicholas Kossoff, who is a brilliant musician, guitar player. Played with Robin Gibb for many years, and he had his own band. What was the name of the band? Brazen Abbott. I don't know if you ever heard of Brazen Abbott.
I have heard of Brazen Abbott, yes.
Joe and Turner sang on a lot of the records. So whatever, we did that. It wasn't as successful as the first one. Then we came out with Dragonheart, and I think we did a couple of festivals. But again, it was just a conflict on who wanted to do what tours, and it's just, I guess, family things getting in the way. Eddie has his own business, and just things didn't happen. That was that's why Messiah's Kiss didn't get to that level that it should have been.
It's rough, especially being a musician who almost had their name signed on the contract until I read the contract and I said, you know what? I know now that this is not going to work for me. But so many musicians work their way to achieve the dream. And then once they get the dream, they have to work just as hard, if not harder, to maintain and surpass the dream.
Right.
And it is a commitment.
It was tough.
Yeah.
Even that tour was tough because I remember the album comes out, first album, boom, boom, boom. We had some good support from our record label and Gamer, who laid out like an advance, a publishing advance. I'm coming from the States. I'm going into a band that's all Germans, and I'm the only guy who speaks English.
Did you learn the language
they all
at
speak
all,
English well, but I felt so. I'm like, I got to get, you got to come up with some money, and I made them pay me in advance, which they did. But it gets expensive, and then some of the other guys have jobs, like I did too, and you got this sacrifice. The only way you can be successful in any business is commitment, sacrifice, and being consistent. It's the only way, no matter what business you're in. And
I hear you.
That's it. I don't care if you're a roofer or you have your own business doing construction or
your own podcast.
Or a podcast. You just gotta, you gotta be out there, People forget about you fast until your name comes up and they're, I know him. Oh, Mike Tirelli. Yeah, I remember. You gotta stay fresh.
Yeah, you don't ever want to end up in the whatever happened to category.
You gotta stay relevant as possible. Look at Glenn Hughes, he's always doing something. God bless him. And he sounds great still. Dead Daisies, it's a great band, and I think it's a great thing that Glenn's in it, but he stays very busy, Glenn. And he's a great singer, great musician, and that's why he's where he is. He deserves to be where he is. Sacrifice.
He puts so many of these younger singers to shame because he still sings in key. He still has his voice. I actually have to thank Tony Iommi for keeping his name in the public because of those two albums that he did with him. I had completely forgotten about Glenn Hughes after Seventh Star came out. And I remember because my brother had bought the cassette when the album came out. And then by the next album, they replaced him with Tony Martin, who was a great singer as well, but I had forgotten about Glenn Hughes. And then, there were those two Iommi albums with Glenn Hughes. I'm like, holy crap, why did he ever leave? Well, if you want to know that, there's plenty of Black Sabbath YouTube videos out there that explain the whole story, but we're not here to talk about Sabbath. Maybe a different day.
Well, I just say Glenn is, amazing.
Yeah, he is. He's absolutely
I saw
amazing.
His solo thing when he played at the Paramount, actually. I saw him.
Okay.
Right.
Did you get to see him do the Deep Purple show that he did at Westbury?
I didn't see that. That must have been amazing.
Yeah, he just performed cuts from Burn, Stormbringer, and Come Taste the Band. That would have been really cool to have seen, but alas, I didn't. I think my daughter was born at the time. Sorry, daddy priorities. After Dragonheart from Messiah's Kiss was released, you had received the news that you had stage 3 stomach cancer. Right. This hit me hard because I lost my father to stage 4 cancer, and it's nothing that I wish on anyone, even my worst enemy. You underwent a lot of surgery to be rid of it, including the process of having your stomach removed.
Exactly. I had a full gastrectomy. And, I have great days and I have bad days. Today, I didn't have a great day as far as my digestion goes. I try different things. It just sometimes hit or miss, I've had some difficulties. I had some intussusception where my intestine goes into each other sometimes and blockage, and I get extreme pain. But, it's just things. I'm just happy to be alive. and
So are we.
Yeah. Thanks.
If anything, it has not diminished your vocal performance. You sound great on this new record.
Thank you.
And you can tell that it's not studio magic that's fixing your voice. Like, it's coming from here. Like, it's coming from within, and you're just exerting it. One of the things that I love about the new album, it's a metal album, and you stated that at one point Holy Mother fit under the umbrella of power metal. Right. But to me, I can't say, and I said the same thing about Images of Eden, who I had on my show a couple of months ago, who also opened up for Doro at one point when Doro was touring the States with Metal Church. If you asked me who Holy Mother sounds like, I would just say Holy Mother. It doesn't sound like a Fate's Warning. It doesn't sound like an Armored Saint. It doesn't sound like anything that would fall under the realm of any of the other bands on Massacre or any band on Metal Blade or Nuclear Blast. I always say that the best bands are the ones who take their influences, throw everything in the proverbial blender, throw it against the wall, and sees what sticks.
That's exactly what I did on this album.
It shows, because it's some of the most original music that I've ever heard. I would say, just like Halloween's new album, it's up there in my, if not in my top 10, my top 5 albums for 2021 so far. That's congratulations on a job well done with that. Sadly, though, we did lose Randy Coven on May 20th, 2014, and he left behind a great body of music and played with musicians like, well, such as yourself, and also Blue Saraceno and Yngwie Malmsteen. What are your fondest memories of him?
I have a lot of great memories with Randy. Randy also played with Steve Vai too, and Zakk Wylde. Did a lot of stuff with those guys too. And
I did not know that.
Al Petrelli and all that. I liked just being on stage, his presence. I mean, he was one of the best bass players I've ever played with in my life. Some of the memories we had when we used to go to Europe all the time and record albums, and he was just a character, always a fun guy to be around. I just remember being my fondest memories of Randy is just being on stage with him, and he's always having a great time, and just seeing him smile on stage, it always gave me an encouragement, a boost.
That's what counts. Yeah.
Yep.
Leading up to the return of Holy Mother, and I don't know if I'm getting this wrong in my pronunciation of it. Is it Riot 5 or Riot V, or was it Riot?
I played in Riot. Now there's Riot 5 because Mark Reale was the only original guy. He passed away 4 years ago, or 5 years.
From Crohn's disease, unfortunately.
Crohn's, yeah. I was in Riot with Mark Reale, Mike Flintz. Frank Gilchrist was playing drums. It wasn't Bobby Jazambak at the time. Pete Perez was playing bass. That was Riot. Now they have Riot 5.
Great band.
Yeah, amazing band live. They're great. Great friends of mine.
Fire Down Under is probably one of my favorites from that period of metal and hard rock when it came out. Okay. Holy crap. Still listening to that record. So your body of music and performances definitely defined a long storied career, and that still continues to this day. What is it that keeps you going? I know you mentioned before that it's just the thrill of being on stage, and
it is. It's definitely, it's that, and also just writing and making my own music always seems to fuel me, and then on this album I experimented a lot. I wanted to bring a more modern sound to the band, and I used Kane Churko to co-produce but mix the album and master the record, and I think that's what brought that more of a relevant sound, a more modern sound to Holy Mother. Basically, I play music in all different styles too. I'm also in an 8-piece band, a wedding band. I've been doing that for 15 years, and I get to play all different styles, so I just love music, just keeps me going. And then when I play with that kind of music, the other kind of music, it makes me think, oh man, I just want to do my own music, So
I hear you.
I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. I am a heavy metal hard rock singer as well.
And a damn good one at that, sir. But I will say this though, when I saw you do a cover of To Be With You from Mr. Big with Richie Castellano of Blue Oyster Cult.
Yeah, Richie.
I loved it. And I was just like, my God, this holds up just as good as the original version. Little history. I don't know Richie personally, but my wife, Erin, went to SUNY Purchase with him. And Richie was, I think, maybe 2 years or 3 years ahead. And they had known each other in the Conservatory of Music. When we went to go see Blue Oyster Cult perform a free concert in Massapequa Park in 2014, my wife is watching and she's like, I know that guy.
Yeah, how weird is that, right?
She's like,
Oyster Cult.
She's like, Richie's in Blue Oyster Cult. I'm like, you know the lead guitar player in Blue Oyster Cult? She's like, oh, you should get him on your show. I'm like, I don't know Richie Castellano.
I can get him on your show.
Really?
Definitely.
I would hate to impose, but
no. I'll do that. I'll reach out to Richie. Richie is he's like the MD of Blue Oyster Cult. I mean,
he's their music director and everything.
He's brilliant. He's brilliant and a super, super guy.
I
Really.
believe it. I love their album that they released last year. It is a killer record. I could not put it down.
We got Jules Rodino on drums. Jules is a friend of mine. Then you got Danny Miranda.
Right.
Danny played with Queen, and he's playing with Blue Oyster Cult as well. Bobby Rondinelli actually played with Blue Oyster Cult for a while.
Bobby, yes, I know Bobby very well from when he played with Rainbow, and he also played in Sabbath, and I met him once. Quite a gentleman. Such a nice guy. Actually, funny enough, we were playing in PATCHOGUE. I think there was a venue that was open in October of 2010 and closed in January. I think the biggest band that they had was Overkill.
In PATCHOGUE? Did you say?
Yeah, Club Karma, I think it was. Does that
Heard
name
of
sound
it,
familiar?
I don't think I've ever went there. I don't know.
Yeah, it didn't last long. It was open and closed within a matter of a season, and I had played there with Snakes and Arrows with Gary on vocals, and we played with Completely Unchained. This was before Jake joined the band. Johnny was still the guitar player, and Randy, Johnny Roger, a great talent. Randy Jackson from Zebra was also there, and Hindenburg, which was a Zeppelin tribute that had Felix from Zebra and Bobby on drums. Something happened that night, and they couldn't play, but I was hanging out with Bobby that night. He was such a cool guy.
Bobby's a good friend of mine. He's now doing the Axel Rudy Pell thing, actually.
Oh, he is playing with Axel Rudy Pell, right?
Yeah, he's doing Axel Rudy Pell. Tried to get on tour with them. These going on, I think, in October, but they already had somebody already, which is would have been great for Holy Mother. Getting back to Richie, I did 3 videos with him. I did Here I Go Again, Band Geek
from Whitesnake,
and then I did Children of the Sea from Black Sabbath with Dio.
Which again, my favorite band of all time. I loved it.
Oh yeah, I love Dio with Sabbath. It's great.
Yeah, Richie is a phenomenal musician, and I think it's great that you open yourself to playing with musicians that are not just established, but also ones that, not that I'm saying that Richie's not established. I mean, he earned his way, especially in Blue Oyster Cult, and through studying music and working on music, and just the fact that you give him the rub and other musicians like that, I think it's great because I think it keeps things fresh.
Definitely.
And that's an awesome thing. So 2020, Holy Mother resurrected with founding member Jim on drums, Jim Harris, Russell Pzutto on bass, and new guitarist Greg Giordano, my buddy from Terrigenous.
You know him? Do you know him?
Yes, I do, because he taught at I School of Music and Art in Syosset with my wife.
There you go. Your wife is just as important as my wife in your life.
My wife is the most important thing to me because she also gave me my daughter, who I love more than anything. But yeah, I mean, I was fortunate I got to marry a musician, so she gets why I do what I do. She introduced me to Greg. I hit it off very well with him and John Vulo, who's also a guitarist in Terrigenous. I had actually jammed Megadeth one night with Greg, and Greg was on a whole different level. I mean, he nailed every note because we were thinking, why don't we start a Megadeth tribute? And then I was playing it. I told my wife, I'm like, guys are too good. I can't. I was, I think he might have joked with Aaron and said, he flubbed a couple of notes, but he's really good. I'm like,
yeah. But you know what? The best, even the best. If you don't know the song, I don't care how good you are. I mean, come on, that makes sense. You got to know, you got to do your homework, just like everything else.
But a phenomenal guitar player nonetheless, and he's in Holy Mother right now. And I can truly consider him one of the most technically gifted guitarists that are out there. And I'm not just saying that because I know him, but because I truly mean that.
He is.
So you mentioned earlier what spawned the return of Holy Mother, which was you had a record out, thought it would be good for Messiah's Kiss until you said, why don't we try resurrecting Holy Mother? And Massacre Records said, let's do it. But how did you come across getting Greg and Russell, the new guys, for all intents and purposes in the band?
Greg was recommended to me from Nick Lee, who plays guitar in Riot V. Mike Flint's, I don't know if you know Riot. Mike Flint's has been in the band for a long time.
Yeah, we're friends on Facebook.
Yeah, he's got a student, Nick Lee, who's much younger than him, but he's amazing. I asked Nick, I said, Nick, you have any recommendations? And he recommended Greg. I wanted to go see Greg, and I was like, oh boy, this guy is exactly what I'm looking for. I needed someone who really knew music and it was very technical as well. I wanted a guy who could shred. I'm like, I want someone. We always had great guitar players in Holy Mother. We really did, but I just wanted that element that Greg has that we never had, which is the shredding, but also, he's very melodic as well. He doesn't just shred. And we found it with him. He's great. And he sings well.
Yes, he does. With the stuff that he did with Terrigenous, I was blown away. And when I heard he was playing with you, I'm like, oh, damn, good for him.
It's great. great. I mean, and he's a great guy. I mean, everything is smooth. You know, I'm looking forward to writing the next record, which I have tons of ideas. I mean, I got songs. I might even have 40 already. So I'm gonna have Greg come in, and we're gonna work together on a lot of this stuff, and I'm excited about that.
Possible double album?
Oh no double albums.
Well, I think it's safe to say that Greg definitely brings in a great progressive influence
Yeah, exactly.
to the band that wasn't already defined by limitations that sometimes metal purists kind of place on metal. I mean, they do, unfortunately.
Right.
But, you know, again, as I mentioned, yeah, Holy Mother's a metal band, but it can't be compared to any other band. I mean, to me, the songs speak for themselves. The playing speaks for itself, and the vocals speak for themselves. What I'd like to know is, was this by design to stand out with the new members? And do you feel as though that you hit your benchmark with Faces Burn, now available on Massacre Records?
I do. I definitely do. I'm very satisfied with the album as far as production goes. Again, with Kane Churko getting involved. The songwriting, basically, I put together most of all the ideas with the music and stuff. And I just wanted to get it into a direction where we really sounded like just ourselves. Like you said, it doesn't sound like any other band. You'll hear influences, of course, but you can't say this song sounds like this band exactly and blah, blah, blah. Basically, I think I really hit the mark on this album. And the next album's got to be even better. And I believe it will be.
Well, just so you know, you are welcome back anytime on the Music is Live podcast to discuss your new music, and I'll be more than happy to promote it. If it is as any good as this record, yes, I'll take it. Absolutely.
Good.
From the opening title track, Faces Burn, to my favorite track, which is Legends, No Death Reborn, which again I mentioned was my second favorite track. You know, great songs like The Truth, Prince of the Garden, which I thought was a great social piece without being polarizing. Right. I'd have to say that the melodies, the grooves, it just brings a lot of life to the songs. And of course, the performances are just captured beautifully, as they say in Italy. The one song that took me by surprise, you know what I'm going to say? I never thought I'd hear a metal version of a Carpenter song. Yeah. But you guys took Superstar and you nailed it. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm listening to it. I'm like, is he saying this is a Karen Carpenter song? Again, just full of heart, full of soul. And the instruments just gave it that bite. It gave it that attack. And I didn't recognize it at first. So congrats to that. I mean, you did the purpose of what a cover song is supposed to do. It's, you know, covering the song, paying homage to it, but not being a direct copy of it. Right. How did that come about? Just the idea to cover a Carpenter song?
Well, you know, as a kid, my mom used to play, you know, a lot of different music. There's no musicians in my family. My brothers are all cops. My father was a cop. But my mother used to listen to some really good music, like Sly and the Family Stone, plus Elvis. But the Carpenters were very popular in the 70s, and Karen Carpenter's voice was the most soothing thing I've ever heard in my life. The way she used to sing, and just so I would always, you know, I wouldn't say I was a fan. I just grew up with it, and I would sing it to myself once in a while. I'm like, I think this would be a great cover for like a rock heavy metal thing. So I actually put it together with Mickey James. I don't know if you know Mickey James.
The name sounds familiar. I apologize. I can't put a name to a face. Who is Mickey?
He's got his own studio. Mm-hmm. He's a bass player by trade, plays all instruments. He plays in an Aerosmith tribute thing now. I don't know how else you would know him. He did, he worked with Chris Angel for a while.
Chris Angel, Mindfreak?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He writes a lot of his stuff. He did for a long time.
All right, now it sounds familiar.
So
okay.
I recorded all the tracks at his studio. He helped orchestrate the whole thing with me brilliantly. He played some of the stuff. He played all the strings on it. He really was a big part of that song. You know, I told him I wanted it to be a little dark, you know, not so happy. I gave it a shot. I'm like, it's good. Let's go with it.
It fit really well in with the album. And again, you definitely added your own panache to the song. It fits in perfectly with the material that was originally written. And again, just the overall sonics of the album itself, it's a solid piece of work. Again, I couldn't be happier for you and the band that this came out. I will admit what got me to really take notice, because I admit, and I apologize for this, but sometimes work-life balance and podcast life balance, sometimes it doesn't keep me in the know of everything that's going on. So it just so happened that I was scrolling through my Instagram, and the next thing I know, the post was Mean Street coming out on this day, and it had the Eddie Van Halen Frankenstrack colors on it. I'm like, wait a minute, Mike just covered a Van Halen song. And wait a minute, Greg's in this band. The day it came out, I immediately put it on in my car as I was driving to work. I got to admit, it's one of the best Van Halen covers that I've heard in my life. It doesn't sound like a Van Halen song.
Right.
The way you did it, again, the attack of the instruments, the performances, you paid tributes to the music of Van Halen without being a direct copy of it. The first thing I noticed was that Greg used a 7-string guitar. I've never heard anybody use a 7-string guitar to Van Halen, and it worked.
That's the brilliant part of it. Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, it's like you out Dave.
Dave is amazing. You got to say. I mean, you got to.
Yeah.
Dave is
my favorite frontman of all time.
He really is. I mean, what he did when he recorded in the studio, the way the attitude that he portrayed on all the songs, I actually listened to that, a lot more attentive and listen to what he did. It was just brilliant. I wanted to bring a little more attitude the way I would bring it, and I think we did a great job, like you say, but Greg was a big part of it, and I'll tell you why. He said to me, would you be opposed to pitching it up a half step? I'm saying, I don't know. Yeah, why not? He goes, yeah, you wouldn't have a problem with it, just singing it a little higher. But the reason why he did that is because it's in A flat. As you know, you got a 7-string, you got the B string. So with that said, you pitch it up. Now it's in A. So you could take your B string, take it down full step.
Drop tuning.
Open string is an A, and it's deep. And he's playing, with the 7-string. So that gave it the edge. That's what I believe that gave it that, the punch and the edge. And that was Greg's idea, because I picked a couple different songs and Greg's like, why don't we do Mean Street? I'm like, all right. So it was really Greg's idea. And I'm happy he said that.
I'm happy you said that too, because I've mentioned on my podcasts before, and to anyone that I've had this conversation with, Fair Warning is my all-time favorite album. I remember being a kid, 4 or 5 years old, and I had already seen Jump. So the only thing I knew about Van Halen was Jump. But my brothers had all the cassettes, and one of them was Fair Warning, and I couldn't understand the cover. It was like a weird, like anime drawn thing. It was a clip of a painting called The Maze. And I remember the moment I put it on, and Mean Street was the first song that came on, and hearing the really frantic tapping that Eddie's doing in the beginning, in E flat, of course, just thinking that it reminded me a lot of the sirens, the ambulance sirens and fire truck sirens and cop car sirens that I grew up listening to, because in Astoria, I was right by the firehouse, right near the hospital, and right near the police department. That frantic energy was captured perfectly in Mean Street for me. So that's what I always remembered about Eddie. And just the moment it kicked in, that funky groove where like it just sounds like, my God, if I walk into the street, I'm going to get my ass kicked. That was when I knew I was a Van Halen fan. And to hear you guys bring new life to the song, fucking A, kudos.
Well, we got asked first to do a Van Halen tribute album.
Is it that one, that Long Island based one that a bunch of other musicians did? Okay.
He was the, I guess he ran the whole thing. He's got his own label. And I think there's like 18 bands got asked.
So you were asked to be part of that, and
then
what happened?
The album, whatever, it was on that album. And then we decided to give it to Massacre. We said, hey, listen, this could be great. I want you guys to release it as a single. We'll do a video. They agreed. We did the video. I think it was a great choice, because we're getting all the same feedback, that everyone is really blown away by what we did to it.
The video is killer because it really acts as a good companion piece of the song. I mean, some people just do videos and you're like, well, what does this have to do with the song? But it fits the frantic nature of the song so well. I got to ask, where was it shot?
That's a good question. We shot it at a strip club in North Babylon.
There's many of them. We won't name which one.
You don't want to go to this one, I'm telling you.
Okay.
It was a swingers club, and it was someone that I knew. I'm like, hey, you know what? I want to do it here. I want to do some live footage here. And then I got Jim Harris. His brother lives in Florida. He's going to do all the conceptual footage. And he did a brilliant job. So we sent them all we sent everything to him. He had his son in the video, and his son played an amazing part. Jim's brother is Rick Harris. The Village Beat is his, his company name or whatever. He did the video. He did a brilliant job. His son was great in it, and we loved it. He did a really, great job, and it didn't cost that much. Believe it or not, all the other videos cost a little bit more. This one was a lower budget, but I think it came out amazing.
It did. I mean, whoever edited it together did a great job. So
Rick, Rick did.
Oh, it was Rick. Okay, you released the killer new album with Holy Mother. I love it. and I will promote it till I'm blue in the face.
Thank you.
And I guess the only question is, other than the possibility, well, no, the definite fact that you're going to be recording new music again with the new lineup with Greg, Russell, and Jim, what are the plans for the rest of 2021 or 2022 for Holy Mother?
So far, we've been reaching out to so many different booking agencies and musicians and bands. It's really hard to get on some of these bigger tours and festivals because it's a copy-paste situation since COVID moved, whatever was in 2020 got moved to 2021. But we're doing the D. Snider record release party on the 29th. Then we're doing a tour. We booked a tour in Europe in December this year. So we're getting all the dates. Some of the countries we'll be playing are Croatia, Germany, Czech Republic, Italy, France, Slovenia, Poland. It's December 1st through the 19th, actually. So we're getting all the definite dates and where we're going to be. So far, I think we've got a couple definite dates. One's going to be in part where Messiah's Kiss lives, which is close to Dusseldorf. They live in a town called Dienstlaken. And it's going to be, the first show is going to be, not the first show, but December 11th, we know is going to be in Oberhausen. And all the Messiah's Kiss guys will be down there, and we'll go up and play some Messiah's Kiss songs as well.
That is really cool. I have to emphasize, you don't really hear a lot about like bandmates from past bands who still get along to this day, can still say, hey buddy, let's go on stage and jam. I mean, that's a great thing. And honestly, Mike, it speaks a lot to your character. I knew who you were when we met, and you did not make me feel like I was beneath you. You treated me with the same kindness and respect as you would a Glenn Hughes. And I've always appreciated that about your character, which is why I'm so beyond happy that you beat your cancer. I'm so happy that you have Holy Mother and you have your new album and things are looking great for you. And honestly, it's very well deserved. Thank you very
much. I appreciate it.
Anything you'd like to plug, such as any websites where the good people of planet Earth can find more about you and Holy Mother?
I definitely want to plug my Facebook page, which is Mike Tirelli. I want, if people can follow Holy Mother, Mike Tirelli, Holy Mother, my YouTube channel, Instagram, keep up on that, and you'll see all the posts and all the shows that we're going to be doing. So I guess that should do it. There's a story I wanted to tell you about Gary.
Oh, Gary Factoris, who he's referring to. Gary is a very dear friend of both of ours. I was his bass player / keyboard player in Snakes and Arrows, which was the Rush tribute band, which was how I got to know about Mike, because his wife Janet was very supportive of us back in the day. So thank you, Janet.
My pleasure.
Where'd that come from?
She's somewhere.
Are you feeding Mike Andrew down there?
Anything I forget. Oh, she's like. Anyway, Gary, I met like so many years ago. He was a big fan of Eric Adams, Manowar.
He never told me he was a fan of Manowar.
Oh, he was. He used to always say to me, you got to hear Eric Adams. I'm like, I don't really like his voice. I used to say to him, I don't really like that guy. I actually did some shows with Manowar. We did a big festival, Messiah's Kiss, called the Magic Circle.
Oh, huge. That was their festival, I think.
Yeah, 30,000 people. It was awesome. You can find that online, actually, that video. It's called Blood, Sweat, and Tears. It was a great video with Messiah's Kiss. But Gary was a big fan of Eric Adams and Manowar. As my wife says, why does she say Manowar? She says. I'm like, who says it like that? We're from the New
Europeans
York.
Manowar.
Manowar. I know. She hangs out with all her German friends, too.
Manowar.
That's how they say it. And Gary used to come see me sing at the Third Rail in St. James.
In St. James, okay.
He was in a band. I don't remember the band name, but Gary's a great singer, too. So we hit it off right away. He's such a great guy, great singer. That was the time when Dream Theater was looking for a singer. And he used to come down and see me all the time because they lived right in like Smithtown, St. James.
Yeah, I think, I believe John Petrucci actually lives in St. James. Don't worry, I won't give his address because I don't know it.
Kings Park. He went to Kings Park High School. And they used to come down and they wanted me to be the singer when they changed to Dream. They used to be called Majesty.
Right. And then Charlie Dominici joined the band and then they changed it to Dream Theater, correct?
And they were, but I'll tell you what, I didn't want to be the singer of that band. First of all, I didn't know they were going to be so freaking huge, but I was so intimidated by their music and what they did. I was like, this is not for me. I remember the first time I went over there, they're like, you got to come over. Just calm, don't worry about it, blah, blah, blah. They had like a blackboard set up in the room and they started writing out time signatures. This one we're going to do in 9/8. This one, I went like this. I can't be in this band. There's no way. I just don't
Wow.
know. And then John's like, you could sing it. You don't have to sing like that. Everything could just be, on 4 and 6/8, whatever. That's nothing. I'm like, I was so intimidated. But anyway, talking with Mike Portnoy now, he always brings that up. Oh, we were touting you, we're scouting you for all these years. You could have been the singer. He says it in a good way, but it's kind of flattering.
Yeah, but he could still be the drummer in Dream Theater.
Right. Kind of flattering that Mike says that to me now, but it's all good. I figured that was the days with Gary and Mike Portnoy and John Petrucci.
Wow. And you're still friendly with Mike Portnoy to this day?
We talk, on Facebook, not that often, but yeah, he comments and, say hello and all that kind of stuff.
Images and Words is my favorite album from them. Just something about that album when it came out. I just thought it was, I don't know. I mean, 92, I felt like was a great year for a lot of metal releases. I mean, you had Dream Theater, Images and Words. You had Pantera's Vulgar Display of Power. Metallica was riding the wave of success with the Black Album. Halloween, unfortunately, was in between Pink Bubbles Go Ape and Chameleon, but that's okay.
Greg is a huge fan.
The truth,
John Petrucci. Oh my God.
You don't say. Of course, I knew
huge
that
fan.
So well. He was playing an Ernie Ball John Petrucci model,
exactly.
Isn't he?
Yep.
Makes sense.
He loves that guy. He actually, I think he knows every Dream Theater solo there is.
He does, and that's not an easy feat. I could play Pull Me Under in my younger days. Now I'm just like, no, I can't. But, oddly enough, the last show that I did with Snakes and Arrows, Gary and we were able to do 2 songs that were not Rush songs. One of them was Driven to Tears by the Police, and the other one was Pull Me Under, where I got to do bass and play keys with my bass pedals, with the feet. That was a significant show for me because my late brother, the one who made me want to become a musician, was at that show with my wife. He said something beautiful to me that when I got off stage, he said, "You surpassed me."
There you go.
And I never expected to hear him ever tell me that.
That's why you do music. It made you feel good, right? That's the same reason people say nice things. It's a nice thing to hear. Do something that you love and people appreciate it, especially when it's your brother. That's great.
Yeah. Who I miss dearly. And, like every time I do this podcast and I talk about music with, people that I just met or people that I'm friends with, it's a way for me to keep them close.
That's great.
Not to get deep or anything, people, but, we all have our reasons for getting into music. If you want to know more about how I did, just listen to past episodes. To be able to have, great musicians such as Damiano Christian from Sacred Oath on the show, Sasha Gersner from Halloween, and now we have Mike Tirelli from Holy Mother. It's a testament to my love for music that the mainstream is not covering. But most importantly, it's a testament to the talent of people like Mike who put the music out for people to consume. Oh, there is one question I got to ask. So you mentioned you were not really a fan of Eric Adams, but we both mentioned Halloween. So who's your preference, Eric Adams or Michael Kiske?
Oof.
Don't look to Janet to tell you the answer.
I have my answer.
She has her answer.
Geddy Lee.
Yeah.
I would say Halloween more so.
All right.
Not that Eric Adams, I just was not into that whole warrior kind of
Conan the Barbarian type, Robert E. Howard metal. I get it.
But you know what? They really got it down, man. They've been very successful. They're huge in Germany too. I mean, they put that festival together. It's like 30,000 people at that festival. It was amazing. And the show was amazing.
That's one of the beautiful things about Europe is the fact that they don't care what the genre is. They just love music. I don't want to insult our home country. God knows I love our country. Proud of the fact that I'm from here. If I wouldn't have the opportunity that I would anywhere else that I have here, but its musical taste I just find it so fickle because it's very flavor of the month.
Flavor of the month. That's the way it is here. It's getting a little better. I mean, we do have the States have great festivals now. I mean, the Blue Ridge Festival is amazing. I mean, I can't believe they got all those artists to play. It's amazing. I'm actually going to it because Janet's forcing me to go to it, but not that she's forcing me, but she kind of like put it all together, I should say, the trip and everything. It's in Virginia. It's amazing. But there's some good festivals now.
There's M3, which caters to the music that we love. And be cool for you guys to get on that. I would love to hear that Holy Mother made it to Vakken again. I just wish the best for everything that you're doing. Anyone that you want to give a shout out to before we close it up for the night?
I guess I want to give a shout out. I did already to my beautiful wife. She's right here. I have to. I'm kidding. My daughter, but she probably is not going to watch this anyway. She's a very, very talented 13-year-old musician. She sang on a lot of the tracks on the Face This Burn album.
That's her?
A lot of stuff, on No Death Reborn. that's like 3 years ago when I recorded her vocals. So, 10 to 13 is a big step up where her voice matured,
Mm-hmm.
But she's got amazing pitch. I mean, I think she's got perfect pitch, which is incredible. And great musical sense. She plays 3 instruments, and give her a shout out. I give a shout out to Danny Stanton for putting the show together on the 29th with Dee Snider. Shout out to Dee Snider for, giving us the opportunity to play his record release party. Everybody who supports Holy Mother, that's it. And being, part of the Long Island scene as well.
I'll take it. And once again, to remind everyone, July 29th, Stereo Garden in Patchogue, Dee Snider's record release show. His new record's being released on Napalm Records. Holy Mother's Faces Burn is available now on Massacre Records. Right. And they will be headlining and performing at Dee Snider's record release show. So go to Stereo Garden's website. All links will be in the description below. Check it out. Support them. These guys deserve it. Big shout out to the members of Holy Mother that are not here, Jim, Russell, and Greg. Mr. Mike Tirelli, thank you from the bottom of my blackest heart. Thank you so much for being.
I guess I forgot to shout out to my boys, man, Greg and Jim and Russell. Sorry, guys.
No, they just sent me a text message. We quit. No, just kidding.
Lou did it for me. Thank you.
Of course I do it for you. I mean, hey, look, you guys are Holy Mother. We need to keep the family together. That's what I want. I want to hear more music, and I want to see more live performances. I will be there July 29th, and awesome. I look forward to meeting the rest of the guys and having them on the show if they'd be willing to have it. Give them some time. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to metal shows coming back to Long Island.
If you want, bring some memorabilia or some merch that you have, or just you want to give out something at our table, feel free.
Who, me?
Yeah.
I don't have merch, but
all right, whatever. We got to give you a shout out somehow, right?
Oh no, I don't do this for the accolades. I do it for the love of the music and to keep it out there. I don't have that.
See you that night. It's gonna be great.
I will be there, and I will be there with money to buy stuff. So
thank you.
Don't worry about it, Mike. Thank you again for being on the show tonight.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Really. Thank you so much.
No problem.
I will see you soon, Lou. Thank you.
Definitely. If you want to learn more about the Music is Life podcast, check it out over at musicisLifepodcast.com. Also, check out our parent network, ratseyereview.com. Rat's Eye Review and Anchor FM are who produce this show. And I want to give a quick shout out to all of the other podcasts that are on the network, including the Mothership Show, Rat's Eye Review, Beyond Bushido, which is a pro wrestling MMA podcast. Also, check out Vieira Vault with Ralph Vieira, who's the lead singer of Thrash or Die in Combat. Also, check out Suck My Balls, the South Park podcast. I love it when people give a reaction to that. Look at that. That is its name. This is a tongue twister. Old Man Metal's Musings. There, I said it. And also The Right Opinion with Harrison Bergeron. So remember, musicisLifepodcast.com, ratseyereview.com. Again, thank you to Mike Tirelli and Holy Mother. And don't forget to buy the album Faces Burn on Massacre Records right now. And remember, all art is valid. Have a good night.